Hi, Laura. I want to thank you for coming in today. I've reviewed your assessment. My name is Christopher Lund, and I'm a licensed alcohol and drug counselor for the state of Kansas. And I would like to go over a few preliminary questions with you and then review your treatment plan with you based upon your assessment and the things we've discussed. So, does that sound okay?
Yes.
And how are you feeling today?
Well, I'm all right.
Okay, so Laura, in reviewing your assessment, it would seem that your two primary areas we want to look at is your use of alcohol and how you're dealing with your anxiety. Is that correct?
Well, yeah, I really mostly just want to get through, do the steps I need to restore um, my job status because I really want to get back to work.
So that's your biggest concern. You don't really view alcohol right now as your primary area of concern.
Well, no, not exactly.
Well, that's fine. We'll begin discussing that as we move forward. But first, I would like to know how you're feeling about your recent problem you encountered at work with one of your clients. Is that right? And can you tell me how you're feeling about this?
Well, it was kind of an embarrassing situation. It was a rather stressful day, and I would like to make amends with that and make sure I can restore the confidence my employer has in me.
Right. I'm sure that must have been very troubling for you, and I can see that you were bothered by that, and it must have been embarrassing to be called out by your boss in front of the other employees, and to have your one of your department heads refer you for counseling. So I sure get that that must have been very problematic for you, and I certainly empathize with you for having to go through that. So. As a single white successful female, this must have been very difficult for you to go through, having been considered a success at work. Is that right?
Yes, a lot of people really depend on me, and I was dependable. And so I just really want to restore that in my coworkers and with my boss.
I understand that. That sounds like a reasonable expectation. And now I see that you're reporting that you're suffering from panic attacks. Can you tell me a little bit more about that and how often you suffer from these attacks?
Well, it's not terribly often, a few times a week maybe. I have trouble with that. And I take some medication that helps with that.
And right now, what are those medications that you're taking?
Well, I'm taking Xanax daily as prescribed, and then a Valium for to help me sleep or to calm my nerves.
Okay, so when was the last time you saw a doctor in regards to your medications?
Oh, it's been a while. I just refill the prescription and just continue with what we
Okay,
talked about then. So,
okay. Laura, we've developed a treatment plan together, and I'd like to go over some of those things with you. I'd like to look at some of our short-term goals that we'll be looking to achieve. Can we go over a few of those right now?
that'd be great.
Okay, one of the first short-term goals we'll be looking at is we want to reduce the negative impact alcohol is having on your employment as one of your self-stated goals. And one of our first tasks that we're going to look at is to minimize or eliminate alcohol prior to scheduled work times. Does that seem doable?
I would think so. I don't typically just drink before work.
Okay. Well, we want to look at different areas and different ways we can do that. But what if we were to look at our second task, which is to create a positive physical workout schedule to reduce alcohol intake, especially when preparing to enter the work environment? One of the things I noticed on your assessment was that you typically tend to want to drink one glass of wine in the evening and instead will end up drinking a bottle and then looking to open a second bottle. And I did notice that you were into the physical workout and usually did that in the morning. What if we were to schedule a physical workout in the evening that would take up some time and get your endorphins flowing and reduce the amount of alcohol consumption in the evenings and place you in a better position to get up and to be prepared for work the next day? Does that sound like something you'd be interested in?
Yeah, I think that would probably work better with my schedule, and I do want to make my health more of a priority.
Okay, and the third task under this category or short term goal is to create positive affirmation lists to deal with alcohol cravings with an emphasis on the importance you've placed on your employment and self worth. I noticed that dieting and weight loss and the recent issues at work has probably created some self esteem issues. And I thought, what if we were to make a positive affirmation list and put it up a few places in the house that would help you recognize your self importance and the things that you value most? Is that something we could do?
Yeah, I think that would probably be good for me to look for the good things that are in my life and not at the bad things.
Okay, our second short term goal is to address anxiety and depression from a clinical standpoint. And one of the tasks, the first task we have scheduled, is to schedule an appointment with a mental health medical doctor to review your current medications and make any changes as needed. And that's just a thing we do to make sure that the medications we're taking are, mainly the correct ones, and to see if any changes need to be made to address the anxiety attacks, the frequency of the panic attacks, and just to make sure that we're doing things correctly. And that's just something that needs to be done, and we strongly recommend that. Is that something you'd be willing to do?
Yes, I'd go over I'd go over the medications and make sure I have the right amounts.
Okay, and then that's the second task would be to agree to take the medications as prescribed. And one thing we'd like to add to that is to keep a medication journal so that you can um, visibly see what medications you're taking, how many, and this also helps you to make sure that you're taking them as prescribed. Is that also agreeable?
I think so. I get busy enough that it would be good to remember what I've done.
Okay, well, Laura, the third thing is to participate in alternative methods of dealing with anxiety and depression. And we've talked a little bit about this before. And one is breathing techniques, and there's acupuncture, meditation, things like that. And these are all really healthy ways that don't involve medication or a lot of time, but can really help to alleviate some of the stress that's involved with anxiety and things. And I think this would really help you to get back on a more a healthy track. Is that something that sounds good?
Well, I think we can look into that, but it's just much easier to take the medication, and I know how I feel when I take it, and it's less time consuming.
Right. So I mean, I think that this will be a new approach, and that's why you're here, and we want to listen to all your concerns, and we certainly want to understand that this will be new and different for you. But as we move forward, you'll just have to see how we're doing, and we want to be there to support you. Okay.
Okay.
The third short-term goal is look at addressing weight loss with a plan of action, and we put down as a task here to discuss with me, your counselor, healthy ways that you would consider losing weight. And you probably you've talked about several ways that you've attempted in the past, but we want to look at some ways that won't create stress or add anxiety, but ways that you're okay with. And we'll go through those as we move forward in the treatment plan to discuss those different methods that you might approve of doing. Is that okay?
Yeah, I think we can do that. I'd be concerned about stopping my diet pills, though.
Right, and that's also a task we have here, which is to read about the issues regarding mixing medications and the harm that this can cause. A lot of times when you're talking about amphetamines and depressants, which the diet pills are amphetamines, the Valium and Xanax are depressions, or what we call benzodiazepines, and we just want to give you the information so that you can have in regards to health and safety factors involving mixing medications. So this is just to make you knowledgeable about the harm and possibly some of the dangers associated with mixing medications, and that's just to make you aware. Is that okay?
That sounds good. I do want to be healthier.
And then the last one here is to look for and enter into any support groups that you might like to help you with weight loss. And there's literally hundreds of different support groups out there for weight loss, and we just like for you to select the ones that you like, what feels like things that would be comfortable for you to do, and then enter into them, and then to agree to participate. I think we're off to a great start. How do you feel about this treatment plan?
Well, I think it's doable. I think I could probably handle most of that.
Well, great, Laura. We'll see you at the same time next week. I want to thank you so much for coming in and for taking the time to go through these items with me. This is a good starting point, and we can change and alter any of these things as we move forward to accommodate you. And like I said, this is all designed strictly to help you. So we're here to be of maximum service to you, and we'll make the changes that we need to as we move forward. Does that sound okay?
That sounds good. Thank you.
Once again, Laura, thank you for coming in. We look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you.
Thanks.
So, in dealing with Laura, of course, we didn't have a whole lot of information to go from, but we're going to assume, for the sake of this discussion, that Laura was a single white female with good means, good job, good socioeconomic status. We didn't have any indication as to her sexual orientation or any of those things. So the only cultural competency that we were wanted to acknowledge was that she was a successful white woman with good means, and really didn't present any other cultural norms. We didn't have any discussion in regards to marriage or children, so there wasn't enough information there to get into a whole lot with. I hope that's the right answer. I'm not sure what else to go from, but that's all we have for this video. Thank you.